Aloha, fellow explorers. We just returned from a week on the big island of Hawaii and figured it was time to update this video about which Hawaiian island is the best to visit: Oahu, Maui, Kauai, or the big island. And with so many different attractions, so many different types of islands, large, small, how do you pick which one you want to visit? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. We're going to be covering things like the size, the vibe, the hotels, the beaches, the food, the things to do, so you can pick your perfect island getaway. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start with the size and the population of these islands just to give you a good lay of the land. And we're first gonna start with Oahu right here. Oahu is the third largest of the islands by land mass, but it is the largest when it comes to population. There's around 1 million residents that live on the island of Oahu, and they live on about 600 square miles. It is the most urbanized, and last year, in 2024, 6 million visitors visited Oahu. That is 50% of all of the visitors to Hawaii went to this one island. Now, the extra interesting statistic about those visitors to Oahu is that of those visitors, most of those visitors that went to Oahu are in this 1 square mile known as Waikiki. I was reading a report the other day by the Hawaii State Tourism Department that said 45% of all hotel rooms in all of Hawaii are in Waikiki, this 1 square mile beach. So get that through your head. Just about half of all hotel rooms are right there. 8% of Hawaii, the state, 8% of the state's gross product, meaning 8% of the money that is earned by Hawaii, is earned in this 1 square mile. About 11% of all civilian jobs in the state are in this 1 square mile, and about 12% of state and local tax revenues are generated by this 1 square mile. Now, the implication of all of that is that Oahu and Waikiki are definitely going to be more developed, bustling, and diverse. Really, Oahu is kind of a city by the sea. All right, let's talk about Maui now. Maui is the quintessential honeymooners island. It's often known as the honeymoon isle. It's a little bit bigger than Oahu. Oahu is 600 square miles roughly. Maui is about 700 square miles. The population on Maui, a lot less. 1 million on Oahu, 165,000 on Maui. A lot of visitors, though. 2.3 million visitors in 2024, which is 21% of the visitors that went to the state of Hawaii. It used to be more. There used to be more people that would visit Maui, but the tourism there has definitely been impacted by the fires. But what you'll find on Maui, you'll find less of a city. You'll find more resort areas and quiet upcountry towns. Now, looking at Kauai over here, often known as the Jurassic Park Island, as I call it. Actually, technically, its nickname is the Garden Isle because it is the most green, most lush, most jungle-like of the islands. It is, of the 4 islands that we're talking about, the smallest at 552 square miles. The population smaller, about half the size of Maui, 73,000 on Kauai. How many people went there in 2024? 1.4 million visitors. So about 12% of the visitors to Hawaii went to Kauai. So you're going to find Kauai to be overall less crowded, more rural, and more lush. And then the final 4th big island here, the island of Hawaii, the big island. By the way, slightly confusing. This island's official name, and I probably need to get rid of my my name here, and I need to get rid of my circle. The name of this island is the same as the name of the state, Hawaii. But people call it the Big Island because, as you can see, it is the biggest island. Okay, so on this big island right here, how big is it? It is 4,000 square miles. All of the other islands, if you took all of these other islands, you could fit them into the big island. That's how big the island is. There's about 200,000 people that live on the big island, so it's the second largest in terms of population. 1.7 million visitors visited in 2024. That's about 15% of the visitors to the state. You're going to find the Big Island to be vast. You're going to find very diverse landscapes. It's definitely going to require more driving. The Big Island is also the only place where you're going to find the active volcano on the state of Hawaii. So that's definitely the big attraction when you go to the Big Island. Okay, now that we know about the size, let's talk about the vibe and the atmosphere and what these places feel like. First, starting with Oahu, the island with the biggest population, the place where most of the visitors go. Oahu is this big city on an island. It's energetic, it's cosmopolitan, it has a lot of high-rises. It's fast-paced, especially Honolulu and Waikiki. The traffic is not fast-paced, though. There's a lot of people who live there, and so the traffic can be really, really soul-crushingly slow. The north shore of Oahu has a pretty laid-back surf culture. We're going to talk more about the beach on the north shore when we get to beaches, but you really find an interesting blend of American and Polynesian influences on Oahu with also a strong military presence. Going to Maui, the honeymooners island, Maui is often seen as this blend of luxury and romance. Beautiful beaches, lots of outdoor activities, but there is also a rural side of it that you can get kind of away from the crowds. There's not really big high rises the same way in Oahu. Some of the hotels can be kind of big, but there's not really big apartments in the same way. Maui is definitely going to be best for couples, honeymooners, families who like resorts, and people who like scenic drives. The road to Hana on Maui is one of the most scenic drives in the state. Oahu is definitely going to be better for people who like the city life, who don't want to drive, who enjoy nightlife, and who enjoy some of the famous surf spots. Now, Kauai, the Garden Island, the Jurassic Park Island, extremely lush, laid back, green. This is the Grand Hyatt in Kauai. You can see just lots of greenery throughout the whole island. And really, I think the focus on being in Kauai is just enjoying and soaking up the natural beauty. You'll find a slower pace of life. I mean, there's a slow pace of life in all of the islands. People often use the phrase, relax while you're there because you're on island time. I feel like particularly in Kauai, you go to Zippy's. I don't know, actually, is there a Zippy's on Kauai? I'm not sure, but no restaurant is really zippy. That was the joke I was going to make. Nothing is particularly fast, but that's just life on this particular island. Kauai is definitely going to be best for nature lovers, people who enjoy hiking, but not like casual hiking, like really getting out there to hike. People looking for tranquility, to get out away from things, be by themselves. People with a sense of adventure, and people who enjoy dramatic scenery. The Big Island that we just returned from is diverse and adventurous. You'll find a lot of Hawaiian culture here. The Big Island is where the King Kamehameha ruled. He was the Hawaiian king that united all of the islands, and so there's a lot of historic Hawaiian temples and palaces on the Big Island. If you like volcanoes, you will enjoy this because where else do you get to see a volcano in Hawaii? Well, you get to see volcano because they're all volcanic islands, but this is the youngest island. This is the one with the active volcano. If you're lucky, you can see lava coming up. We did go at night. In the daytime we went, we could see the smoke coming out, and we did go at night, and we could see the red glow of the volcano, or of the lava inside the volcano. So that was neat. The Big Island is so big that there are very diverse areas in it. Like, it goes from 90 degrees Fahrenheit at the beaches here in Kona that are just full of lava rock to the mountaintops of Mount Aloha where it actually snows on the mountains, to the Hilo side that it gets 100 inches of rain. There are so many different geographic zones on the Big Island. There's a lot of nature to see as well. People who will like the Big Island are adventure seekers, nature enthusiasts that enjoy volcanoes, people who enjoy stargazing because it's really dark on the Big Island. There are so many observatories there that, like, I shouldn't say I've never seen more stars. In Death Valley, we see a lot of stars too, but the skies are pretty dark on the Big Island. And if you like driving, if you like road trips, a lot of road time on the Big Island. Okay. Yeah, Jake in the chat says, when I went to Kauai, it poured every day. Kauai is definitely known as the rainiest of islands, which we'll talk about that when we get to weather. Jake, thank you for sharing that perspective, though many people actually say that about their trips to Kauai, that they generally got rained out. Great part of the Big Island here is if you're staying on the Kona side, like 5 inches of rain annually. And so, like, it almost never rains. Like, if it rains on you on the Kona side, you are pretty unlucky. Okay, so the third thing I want to compare these in is I want to compare it in getting around, and so I'm gonna make these bigger so that we can take a look at the airports. And first, we're gonna go ahead and start with the airports on Oahu. And I did a Google Maps search, and I put in airports, and for some reason, some of these islands showed up with 2, even though there's 1. I'm gonna just talk about the real ones, but this gives you a rough idea of where the airports are. The 1 international airport on the island of Oahu is Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, HNL. That airport, the best airport in the Hawaiian Islands. You will find the most direct flights from anywhere going in to Honolulu Airport. So one of the reasons I like Honolulu is really good, easy flights. We fly out of Los Angeles. There are like 15 flights a day from Los Angeles on American, United, Delta, Southwest, Hawaiian Airlines, Alaska Airlines. There's a lot, a lot of flights to Honolulu Airport. It is also the hub for inter-island flights, so you're generally probably not going to fly from Kauai over here to the Big Island over here. You're probably going to fly from Kauai to Honolulu, and then from Honolulu over to the Big Island or something like that. Okay, so Oahu definitely wins on the getting in perspective. Looking at the second one that has the second best airport, we're going to go over here to Kauai. Its airport is Kuhuli Airport over on the north part of Maui. It has many direct flights, but not nearly as many as Oahu. From the U.S., you'll probably find more from the west coast of the U.S. than you will from the rest. You'll have gooder inter-island connections from Maui than you will from the next 2. Okay. The one thing I like about the Maui airport is the rental car facility. They have a new rental car facility there that's right next to the airport. Same thing in Honolulu, so it's really easy to pick up rental cars at both Maui and Honolulu. Okay, now going to Kauai. There's one airport here, the Lihui Airport, L-I-H. Many less flights going to Kauai. Many less people go to Kauai, so you're going to find it smaller. Finally, last but not least, and I need to remove my picture just so you can see all of the Big Island. The Big Island actually does have 2 airports. There's this Kona Airport right here and Hilo Airport right here. The Hilo Airport on the right side, the wet side of the island, only serves inter-island flights. There are no direct flights from anywhere else outside of the islands to go there. But then this one on the left here, Kona Airport, which has 3-letter code KOA. That's the dry side, so it's a better place for it. That's where you're going to find direct flights from outside of the island. In my opinion, it is the... in my opinion... the airport on the Big Island is the worst airport in the Hawaiian Islands. It's entirely outdoors. There's like, you go to ticketing, it's outside. You go to security checkpoint, it's outside. You go to baggage claim, it's outside. You're waiting for the planes, it's outside. There's no jet bridges. There's just like ramps to board the planes and stairs to board the planes. Coming back from the Big Island, we were delayed by 6 hours. We had a 6-hour flight delay. We were flying American Airlines, Kona to LAX. Board the plane, mechanical issue on the plane, deplane, wait for another plane, board that plane. But like as we were getting deplaned, one of the people on the plane was like, she's like, oh no, because this is literally the worst airport to be stuck in. And sure enough, it is not a great airport if you have a delay. Definitely look and check out your flights to see if they're delayed before you go. In our case, it was delayed before we go. We waited at the hotel before we went to the airport, but still, that didn't change the mechanical issue that they couldn't fix. Okay. Next, I want to talk about getting around, which island is easier or better to get around. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take some comments from the chat. And I am thirsty. What is Chris drinking today? Chris today is drinking a fantastic Hawaiian beverage right here, the Hawaiian Sun Lily Koi Passion, one of my favorite kind of Hawaiian fruit juice drinks. Sweet and very pleasant. All right. Made in Hawaii. Okay, taking a look at the chat. Brandon says, at Kona, you get to feel the temperatures constantly since it's outside airport. Strong connection to the land. I agree. Gene says, the Big Island is my second favorite island. Gene, what is your first favorite? Paso One says, I like Kauai's airport. It is simple and laid back. Dan says we spent a week in Maui last year, and they've recovered from the fires beautifully. Highly recommend. Thank you for the tip. Codge of Love says a 6-hour delayed flight was a disaster. It was not a lot of fun at all, in particular because I also feel the timing of the flights out of the Big Island not as good as the timing of the flights out of Oahu. Our flight, like all the flights that go, and maybe it's just my problem being in LA, they might be timed better to other parts of the world, but in LA, they time the flights so that like one plane can go from Los Angeles, deliver people to the Big Island, and then that same plane can come back, which means they leave early in the morning and then they get back late at night. We were scheduled to get back at 10:30 p.m. on Friday night because of the 6-hour delay, but they made up an hour in flight. Yeah, we got into LAX airport at 3:30 in the morning, which is a fantastic time to get to the airport. All right. Rich really enjoys Pearl Harbor on Oahu. Thank you for that perspective. Jonathan says, now these days, if I need to dress and it's hot, I put on an Aloha shirt instead. Definitely, that's the attire in Hawaii. I agree. Deanna says, how was driving from the airport to Waikiki? Nervous driving on the opposite side of the road, leaving for a trip on Saturday from Australia. Deanna, it's a pretty straightforward drive. It is without traffic. Without traffic, it's about 20 minutes. With traffic, it's about an hour. So it depends what time you're going, but it's pretty straightforward and easy. There's the H1, which is like the interstate highway. You have to get on that a little bit from the airport, but I would say if it's your first time driving on the wrong side of the road, then get on H1 and then get off on the 92. That's like the local road that runs along the coast that'll then take you into Waikiki, and it's pretty easy because you don't go very fast on that road. Robert loves the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Points Traveler says, I did a direct flight from Maui to the Big Island once on Hawaiian. Great way to spend the day. Very cool, Points Traveler. Okay. Oh, yeah, and I guess when we were talking about airports, I didn't mention it, but there is an airport in Hana on the island of Maui, which is, you can like fly in there. I don't even know if there's rental cars over there. Hopefully there are. It'd be kind of cool to fly in there, yeah, and then take the rental car back, so you only maybe drive the road to Hana one way. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about getting around the islands now. Transportation options. First, starting with Oahu. In Oahu has decent public transit and rideshare availability. There's good taxis in Oahu if you're around Waikiki. There's good bus transportation. There's private tours. There's a Waikiki trolley. There's like pink bus that'll take you around Waikiki and it'll take you to Ala Moana. If you don't want a car, you can absolutely get around Oahu without a car. Parking, if you have a car in Waikiki, can actually be pretty expensive. And so I often recommend to people, maybe for your first few days in Waikiki, actually don't get a car. Just take a taxi from the airport, go to Waikiki, pick up a rental car 4 or 5 days in, and then use it for 3 days as you like tourist around the rest of the island. But if you want to explore outside of Waikiki, it's useful to have a car. We will get a car every time we go to Oahu, if at least for some portion of the time we are there. Maui. In Maui, I would say a rental car is much more essential than in Oahu. You don't need one. There are a couple of resort areas in Maui that if you just wanted to stay on the resorts on the north part or the resorts on the south part, you could do that well, west, northwest, southwest sides of the island. You could stay there, and if you're just stuck there, then, you know, you don't need a car. But if you want to get out and explore the cool parts of Maui, then you need a car. There's this t-shirt right here. There are some really scenic drives in Maui, but they can be really pretty rough. This one says, I survived the drive to Kahakuloa, Maui, because the road is narrow. These scenic drives in Maui, a lot of one-lane roads, one-lane bridges. So the scenic drives in Maui are definitely not for the faint of heart, or for people who are driving on the wrong side of the road for the first time. But if you are an experienced driver, you like driving, you like road trips, then you'll enjoy the scenic drives in Maui. Going to Kauai, and these are probably ordered in order. They weren't intended to be like this, but these islands are ordered in, like, as we go down this list, the more and more you need a car. Kauai pretty much almost has no public transport or not useful to you as a tourist. Rideshare really limited on Kauai. Cell phone service really limited. Don't depend on it. Get a car if you go to Kauai. The Big Island, car. You need a car to go to the Big Island. The Big Island is so huge. They do have a free bus. The bus is actually free that takes you around the island. It makes one trip a day between certain routes, or two, not very many. The thing to know about the Big Island is there are some roads that require four-wheel drive vehicles. So if you do want to go to some of those places, look at those places that you want to go to, particularly if you want to go to the Mauna Kea summit, you will need a four-wheel drive car, and there's somebody there to actually check to make sure you have a four-wheel drive car. To tell you how much you'll drive, well, I don't know how much you'll drive, but on our week on the Big Island, we drove 669 miles during our week on the Big Island. Every day we were probably spending at least 2 to 3 hours in the car going someplace, just how big the island is. Not like each way, but like round trip, total time in car. But the good news is that on the Big Island, there's not much traffic. The roads are generally well paved. They are not very well lit at night out of the urban areas, and so you probably want to get to wherever you're going in the daytime. I mentioned there's great stargazing, which means it's really dark, and there's actually a lot of wildlife on the Big Island. We saw a lot of like goats crossing the road, so definitely not things you want to encounter late at night out in the middle of nowhere. Let's talk about the weather now. Generally, across all of the islands, the weather is warm year-round. There's two main seasons in Hawaii. There's the summer season, which is May to October. You'll find summer to generally be hotter and drier. And then in the winter, from November to April, you'll find it to be a little less warm. You'll find it to be a little bit more rain, and then you will find bigger surf on the north and west shores of the island. What are we looking at in this graph here? This graph is a rainfall map of the different islands in the state, and the reddish color is less rain, and the bluish color is more rain. And so you can see the west coasts of the island all have less rain, and the east coasts of the island all have more rain. So as you are planning your accommodations and where you stay and things to do, just think about that. Like I say, when we were on the Big Island, we'd be out touristing, we'd be out touristing over here on the wet side of the island. And then when it got too rainy, then we would just drive back to the dry side of the island, and lo and behold, sunny and blue, same day. Did I draw a bow and arrow? It kind of looks like a bow and arrow. Okay. Now, one thing we did hear Jake McShane earlier say is that Kauai, this island right up here, is the rainiest island. The rainiest, the grayest, the least warm. So if what you were looking for is a dry, sunny beach vacation, you're not going to find as much of it in Kauai as you will in the other islands. If you're looking for some of the best sunshine and warmth, you're gonna find it up here in the Kohala coast section of the Big Island with 5 inches of rain a year. You're also gonna find it on this west coast of Maui, the southwest coast. The resorts down there, there's a Andaz Hotel There's a Waldorf Astoria, so very little rain in that part of Maui. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the beaches, and we'll step through each of the islands here. This is number 6, area number 6 to compare. So Oahu, and by the way, that big crater we see in the back, former volcanic crater there, it's Diamond Head, one of the most famous hikes on the island. The most famous beach on Oahu is what we talked about before, the Waikiki Beach. We talked about Waikiki, but we didn't talk about Waikiki Beach. This 1 square mile area, this beach, it's a man-made beach, but it's really beautiful. It's really busy. It can be crowded. Has some really great rolling surf. Has some really great protected areas to swim. The North Shore is most famous for its big waves. And so if you are in winter, that's where you're going to find the big waves in places like the Bonsai Pipeline, Sunset Beach, Waimea Beach. You're not going to want to have kiddos in the water in the North Shore in the winter, but if you're on the North Shore in the summer, the waves can be quite calm. The beaches on the windward side, which is the east side of the island, like Lanikai and Kailua, have been voted some of the best beaches in the USA, with some powdery sand, turquoise water, and not very big crowds. I also like the beaches of Ko'olina. That's where the Disney Aulani Hotel is. If you've got kiddos and they like Disney, and maybe you want to drop the kiddos off for some Disney activities while you go out and do some adult exploration, that's really great for that. And these beaches are protected beaches. They are also man-made beaches, but great if you've got kids with you. Looking at the beaches of Maui, Maui has some also beautiful, stunning, more gold beach as opposed to the white beaches. This is the beach in Wailea. This is in the south part of the island where you'll find my favorite hotel in Maui, the Andaz Hotel. So you'll find good swimming, good snorkeling, good sunbathing. You'll find the Maui beaches to be pretty family-friendly. And you'll also find a lot of windsurfing and kite surfing on Maui too. A lot of whale watching tours that come out of Maui as well. Maui is also, there's 2 smaller islands off the coast of Maui. If you want to visit those, then you do those via ferries from Maui. Kauai, the Garden Island, has some beaches like this. This is Poipu. Most people reference this as the best sandy, family-friendly, easy access beach on Kauai. You're also likely to see Hanu, the Hawaiian sea turtle right there. They're big, they're really big. But I would describe for me personally, I don't like the beaches in Kauai as much as I like the beaches on Oahu or in Maui, because I find for the most part, most of the beaches on Kauai are hard to get to. You gotta like hike a long way to get there. And so for me, as someone who's a father of a 5-year-old, you know, like access is really important for us. But if you're looking for a beach that's just you and nobody, that you don't mind hiking 2 hours to get to, you might find some golden gems on Kauai. Kauai is also very popular for its boat tours to the Nepali coast. We'll see a picture of that later, but that's the really like natural, uninhabited Jurassic Park part of the island. And the final, so Jeff asked this question, does he read these or do I need to donate? I don't read them. I do make notes before I do these live streams so that I get through this hour with some good information for you, but I have an outline over here that I look at to make sure I stay on track. There's no way I could remember 13 points altogether. So there we go. If you appreciate the preparation, then I appreciate any support. I'm not fishing though. All right. So the Big Island right here, one of the cool things about the Big Island is definitely going to be the unique beaches on the Big Island. The Big Island has the blackest sand beaches. This is a black sand beach, Punalu'u Black Sand Beach, which is also famous for its turtles. This was our daughter's favorite part of the Big Island, bar none, hands down. We said, Princess, what was your favorite part of the island? This black sand beach right here. There's also green sand beaches on the Big Island, but there's a huge but here. Because the Big Island is the youngest of the islands, there are not many beaches. There really aren't. They are it's much harder to find good beaches on the Big Island than it is on the other 3 islands. So if you're looking for a beachfront hotel, there's like a handful. You can count like all the hotels, certainly on 2 hands, that have sand in front of them. There's less than 10 on the Big Island that have a sandy beach in front of them. So really, really dive deep into that one. We stayed at the Fairmont Orchid Hotel, which is on a sandy beach, but all the sandy beaches are all generally pretty small coves instead of big, wide, long sandy beaches like you see on the other islands. Okay, 7, I want to talk about where to stay, but after I drink some more of my Lilikoi Passion, let's hit up a few comments from the live chat, and then we'll get into where to stay. Randy says, I thought your favorite island was Naples, the city of trash in Italy. Not an island. Thank you very much. But I appreciate you picking up one of my favorite videos. Jeff O says, I want to visit Guam sometimes this year since I'm US bound. I think I'll definitely transit Hawaii. Jeff, I enjoy Guam. I don't find the beaches in Guam to be as spectacular as they are in Hawaii, like of the great ones. But Tumon Bay, the main beach in Guam, like it's really big and it's really sandy and it's shallow and it's beautiful. It's hot. It's hot and it's humid. I'm sure you've probably seen my Guam guide, but I do enjoy Guam, and it's especially a great stop to go if you're going between, Japan, Korea, and Hawaii, things like that. Great intermediate. Jonathan strongly recommends the Hilton Waikokala Village. There's a lot of nice pools and a tram on the property. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm going to talk about that, Jonathan, when we get to the Big Island lodge. Actually, maybe I'll just talk about it here since we almost have lodging next. So the biggest hotel in the Big Island is this hotel, the Hilton Waikokala Village. It was originally built as a Hyatt during the Japanese bubble economy, primarily to cater to Japanese tourists that were coming to the island. As we all know, the bottom fell out of the Japanese bubble economy at some point, and so the Japanese tourists that they thought were going to come didn't come as much. It was then changed from a Hyatt to a Hilton, and I think the price tiers and the style of the property were slightly lowered. That all being said, the property is amazing. Like, yes, it has this tram, this almost like Disney monorail looking thing that takes you between the different towers of the property. There's a boat you can take between the different towers. There's a cool saltwater lagoon. The Hilton Waikokala Village does not have a sandy beach, which is why we didn't stay there, because our daughter really likes sandy beaches, so that's why we stayed at the Fairmont Orchid. But we did spend like an evening just exploring the Hilton Waikokala Village, because it is a really awesome resort. Points Traveler says, is the Fairmont on the Big Island as spectacular as the one in Lake Louise? No, it's not. I don't want to give away the review rating because there's going to be a TOFA rating on it, but the Fairmont in Lake Louise is a 5 TOFA hotel, and the one on the Big Island is not, but it's also not awful. It is a really nice hotel. We really enjoyed our stay. I think the other hotels that because we're hotel people, we went and looked at some of the neighboring hotels. The other hotels that I would consider, in addition to the Fairmont Orchid, is the Westin Hapuna Beach Hotel and the Mauna Lani, which is just next to the Fairmont Orchid. Those are the 3, if you like beach hotels, that I would consider on the Big Island. We enjoyed the Fairmont. The price of it was cheaper than those other 2 hotels, which is why we stayed there. We booked it with the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts rate, so we enjoyed the oceanfront view room upgrade and the free breakfast buffet for 2 adults. Kids eat free. Lots of great things to enjoy about the Fairmont Orchid. Please don't take away that I didn't enjoy it. We really enjoyed the property. It's just not as amazing as the Fairmont Lake Louise. SoCal says, I like sandy and shady beaches. I burn easily. How about beaches with just umbrellas? That's it. West Coast Toy says, I like the Outrigger Kona Resort. It does look like it's situated on a beautiful thing. Lava Rock, though, no sandy beach there, which is why we also didn't stay there. Chicken Marsala says, have you ever stayed at the Disney Aulani? No, but I have stayed at what used to be the JW Marriott Ko'olina. That's now the Four Seasons Ko'olina. We really like that area. I know we have some fellow explorers here that are probably on today that enjoy staying at the Marriott Vacation Club that's also by the Aulani. We're definitely going to have to get to the Aulani while our daughter is in the prime Disney ages, but have not been there yet. Okay. Any more on this page? Chicken Marsala, if I like Zippy's. I do like Zippy's. Zippy's is like the Hawaiian version of Denny's. It's like a Hawaiian diner style thing. We ate Zippy's our first night on the Big Island. Typically, when we visit Hawaii, we will have Zippy's for at least one meal. And Candy Lord says, aloha from the west side of Oahu. Welcome, Candy Lord. Aloha from the west side of Oahu. Paso recommends the KA Beach on Kauai. You have to pay for a parking pass. Thank you for the suggestion. Kathy says we're going to Aulani again in September. That sounds like fun. And Jake says, I love the black and green sand beach on the Big Island, so unique. And Pierce Chan says the best beach on Oahu is Bellows, which is going to be over on the east side by Kaneohe Bay, somewhere over there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to this picture. This picture. Okay, so hotels and accommodations, number 7 of areas we're going to compare. Okay, Oahu. Hotels on Oahu. You're going to find the widest range of hotels and accommodation on the island of Oahu, from high-rise hotels and luxury resorts in Waikiki and Ko'olina to vacation rentals to condos and to some bed and breakfasts. The North Shore has fewer large hotels and more, actually just a couple of hotels over on the North Shore. There's the Turtle Bay Hotel that's now like a Ritz-Carlton. There's a Courtyard over on the North Shore. Mostly houses that you're renting over there. You can find really budget to luxury on Oahu. Waikiki can be expensive, but expensive is all relative. Oahu, in hotel costs, hotel-wise, average hotel cost is about half to a third of the prices on the most expensive islands. What's the most expensive island? Glad you asked. It's Maui. Maui is the most expensive island. You figure on Oahu, the average hotel rate is about $250. On Maui, it's almost $600 a night on average for a hotel room. Maui is dominated by upscale, big resorts in Wailea, in Ka'anapali. The boutique hotels, there are boutique hotels and vacation rentals. You'll find some bed and breakfasts in the upcountry area, but you're gonna pay. Kauai is also expensive, but a little less expensive than on Maui. You will find the resorts to be less big on Maui and less tall. There are strong building codes on Kauai. There's a big pink hotel over by the airport. It used to be a Marriott. I don't know if it's changed brands recently. But like after that hotel was built, then they were like, no hotel can be taller than a palm tree, basically. So you'll find everything to be pretty low rise and spread out. This is the Grand Hyatt Kauai, which if you're looking for a good hotel, that's a good one. There's also a good Sheraton on Puipu Beach. On the Big Island, you'll find large resorts, primarily on the west coast, on the Kona side and the Kohala coast. On the other areas of the island, you'll find smaller hotels. You'll find a lot of bed and breakfasts and inns in the town of Volcano, which is outside of the national park. We actually stayed in this little inn right here. This is one of the buildings at the Volcano Village Estates. So you can look forward to our review on this cottage that we stayed at in a volcano. But you'll find more budget-friendly options outside of the resort areas on the Big Island. In Hilo, we stayed at the Doubletree Grand Nanaloa. That was like $200 a night. It was like a pretty reasonable price for a pretty decent hotel for what you get for $200 on the coast. No sandy beach, but decently priced accommodation. Okay. There's some talk about rooms. Kathy says at Aulani, the cheapest room rate in Aulani on Oahu, this Disney hotel, is $750 a night, but I rent Disney Vacation Club, so I get it cheaper, which is the Disney timeshare. Point Charlie says, I'd love to check out the Fairmont Kealani at some point. I believe all the rooms are suites. I bet that's nice. Alex asked about this picture. What hotel was this? This is the Grand Wailea, which is near the Andaz. Good eye, Alex. Yes, and Point Traveler says, Point Traveler has a good eye right there. Alex says, Maui's my favorite, but I'm biased because it's the only island that I've stayed at. Jeff O says, this is more expensive than Vegas and Waikiki. Yes, it is more expensive than Vegas in Waikiki. Jonathan asked if we got to visit the volcano. We absolutely did. We spent 2 nights staying in the town of Volcano. And we spent, I would say, maybe like a day and a half in Volcano National Park. We went there at nighttime so we could see the lava glow, and then we spent a whole day from sunrise to sundown exploring the national park because it's really quite big. Glenwood couple says, you should ask for a credit increase before you go to the Disney Aulani. You ask for a credit increase before you go to Hawaii because, yes, it is not a super cheap one. Gene and SoCal Seth both enjoy the Marriott Vacation Club that's there in Ko'olina. Jonathan says, what recommendations do I have for visiting the volcano? We didn't get there when we visited the Big Island because we accidentally drove our car into a ditch. Oh, that's a bummer. Sorry to hear that, Jonathan. Because that'll probably take longer to say here. Jonathan, if you're not planning to go for the next couple months, in my videos that I've got coming out on the Big Island, I've got a whole thing about like everything we did, what to see, all that stuff. And Jonathan, if you're going sooner, holler. then maybe I'll give more of that answer when we get to the Q&A section. Okay. So let's go ahead and now talk about the food scene, number 8. Let's talk about the food on the different islands. On Oahu, you're going to find the most diverse and cosmopolitan food scene. You're going to find the most celebrity chefs. You're going to find extensive Asian cuisine, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, iconic food trucks on the North Shore, in particular garlic shrimp. I love the garlic shrimp on Oahu. My pilgrimage every time I get to Oahu is to go to Giovanni's for the garlic shrimp. And what I love about the garlic shrimp at Giovanni's is it's super garlicky, and they also give you the roasted or pan-fried garlic on top of the rice too. So I keep the vampires away, but really delicious. Poke is great on Oahu. Shave ice, plate lunches, malasadas at Leonard's Bakery, all staples. Heading over to Maui. Maui has kind of, I feel like, a strong farm-to-table movement. You'll find a lot of seafood-focused restaurants in Maui, upscale dining in the resort areas. Less cheap, quick food on Maui than you'll find on Oahu. Kauai, more laid back eateries, less upscale eateries, more local style, local ingredients. Farmers markets are popular. Taro products are popular. Puka dogs are popular. What is this? This is a restaurant on Kauai called Puka Dog, and they basically take like a French roll and they hollow it out and they toss a hot dog in the middle, and then they give you like some tropical fruit inspired ketchups and mango mayonnaise and things like that, and fresh lemonade. It's pretty good. It's a really expensive hot dog though. And the Big Island has a really diverse dining scene, pretty much I'd say because of its size. The Big Island grows a lot on the Big Island, and the Big Island also has a significant cattle or beef industry. So the beef on the Big Island is really good. The fresh fruit is really good. The farmers market's really solid. If you haven't watched it yet, just yesterday I published a walking tour of the Hilo farmers market where we got like 5 papayas for $2. Amazingly cheap, amazingly good papayas. Lots of things from taro as well. Macadamia nuts, you'll find a lot of them on the island. And of course, coffee. Kona coffee comes from the west coast of the Big Island. So, OC girl, who's the coffee lover in the family, every day was having like three coffees from different spots. Aloha Danica's recommendation on Kauai is Hamura Simon. Thank you for that recommendation. Seth is craving huli huli chicken from Ray's on the North Shore. West Coast Toys really like spam musubi, which is rice, a slice of spam that's been grilled with some teriyaki sauce on it, wrapped in seaweed. I also note on the 5 papayas for $2, it was cheap, I know. And it really helped that we had a kitchen in this cottage so we could slice up all of our papayas. Clark agrees that's known for its coffee. Also known for farm tours on the Big Island. You can take tours of the coffee plantations. We went to like a vanilla plantation, so that was fun. Rich says we need shave ice. Shave ice is pretty good. Chicken says, is the dim sum good in Honolulu? Good. Define good. Compared to most of the USA, and by the most of the USA, I mean like the middle states or the flyover states, the ones that aren't on the coast, the dim sum in Hawaii is good. If you compare the dim sum in Honolulu to the dim sum in San Francisco or Los Angeles, it's not as good. But my favorite dim sum in Honolulu is in Waikiki at Tim Ho Wan. It's in the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center. Okay. And SoCal Seth says, I need to do a food spot video on Oahu. I always run out of time. Just do it while you're eating. There you go. In the Yellow Productions family, everybody's learned that when we travel, nobody gets to eat until the video is done. And if people start to look hungry and they start to pick up video time. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, OC Girl. Sorry, Curious Princess, that sometimes your food is a little colder. But duty calls. All right, these videos need to get made. They need to get made, that's what I say. Jenny Fide says, hi, Chris. Hi, Jenny. Paso says, Java Kai in Kappa, best coffee on the island. Thank you for that suggestion. Ashley Mitz recommends Calypso on Kauai. And Points Traveler recommends Koisu Sushi Kihea. Okay, I've not been there. I'll have to add that to my list. Aloha Danica says Big Island candies in Hilo. All right, thank you for all of those great food suggestions. Let us move on to the family friendliness of the islands. And I know not everybody has kiddos, so I'll make this one pretty quick. This is the Curious Princess when she was two and a half-ish, going to Oahu just as soon as they reopened from COVID, back in my Osprey Poco Plus baby backpack that she loved to hang out in. Oahu, very family friendly, calm beaches in Waikiki, Ko'olina, Disney Aulani Hotel. There's a zoo, there's the Polynesian Cultural Center, there's lots of great easy hikes, lots of amenities. You can get all the supplies you need for your kids. So Oahu is the friendliest island if you've got kids. Maui is also pretty good for families because there's pretty good resorts. There's also a lot of stores. You can buy stuff. Many of the big resorts have kids clubs and kids pools. The beaches there, generally sandy bottoms, pretty good for kids. Kauai, not as good for kids. The beaches, the access is not as good. If you have older kids who like to hike and you want to tire them out, then Kauai's great. There's a lot of great hiking in Kauai. The slower pace in Kauai might also appeal to some families. The Big Island, the one we just returned from, the one with the volcano, our daughter at 5 years old, she loved it because it was her first time seeing the volcano. She's always, she likes to play the floor is lava game. The floor is lava. So her first time seeing lava, going in lava tubes. There are less beaches, so it's probably not as good for kids. And the beaches that are there have more lava rocks. So you really have to be careful on the hikes and at the beaches of kids like cutting themselves on the rocks because they're so sharp. But because there's a lot of driving around, if your kids still take naps in the middle of the day or 2 times a day, then you time your drives for their naps and then you're all hunky-dory. Okay. The 10th area to compare is on the nightlife. And the nightlife in Oahu is definitely going to be the most vibrant by far. In Waikiki, it's where it all is. There's like clubs, there's bars, there's live music. Waikiki goes on late into the night. You'll also find good nightlife options around downtown Honolulu and around Chinatown. Maui, more laid back. You'll find some bars in the Lahaina area, although a lot of that's been burned down, but maybe when you watch this in a year or two, things might have come back again. The resort areas, you'll often find lounges and sunset entertainment. You'll find luau's, but not really a clubbing destination. You know, you're not going to find DJ Tiesto spinning the beats in Maui. Kauai, there's no nightlife on Kauai, period. Like 8 p.m., Kauai like rolls in the carpets, locks up the doors, ain't nothing to do once it gets dark on Kauai other than eat dinner and go back to your hotel. The Big Island, you will find some lively bars and restaurants in Kailua, Kona, which is the main town south of Kona Airport. Hilo has a few local bars, but also for the most part, the Big Island is not known for its nightlife. Let's talk about the 11th area to compare, which is hiking and nature. Oahu, one of the most famous hikes that I mentioned earlier, the hike to Diamond Head. This is a picture on that hike, and if we make it bigger, you can see I've got the Curious Princess on my back in that Poco Plus, making it up to the top of this hike. If you do want to hike some of the more popular hikes or do some of the more popular things on Oahu, because it's the busiest island, you need reservations. You need a reservation to hike Diamond Head, and you need to pay. That's a pro and a con. I don't know if it's a pro. I don't know if it's a pro. You need to make a reservation and you need to pay. But if you get a reservation, it's a great hike. My pro tip to you, if you're going to hike Diamond Head, is do like the last one of the day. Because we did the last hike of the day, which was maybe like at 4 o'clock or 4 p.m. And by the time we got to the top, we were like the only ones up there. Literally, we had the entire top of Diamond Head to ourselves. It means we did kind of have to go quickly. We've done it a few times though. So the con of Oahu, there's a lot of hikes. There's a lot of variety of hikes from difficult to easy, but they can be crowded. Maui has some iconic hikes as well. One of my favorite things in Maui, and we'll see the picture in the next section, is the hike at, I always pronounce it wrong, like Haleakala, something like that. The big mountain, the big volcano at the top of Maui. You can get above the clouds and it looks like a moonscape up there. So that's my favorite place to hike in Maui. Kauai, hiker's paradise. Jungle, world-renowned hiking along the Nepali coast. You need permits to go on some of the hikes in Kauai. You'll also find some great trails around some of the other state parks, lush jungle hikes to waterfalls, pretty good hikes in Kauai. And the Big Island, a lot of great hikes as well, particularly in the Volcanoes National Park. You do just have to beware that they're sharp and the rocks are sharp. And you're also going to find some cool high altitude hikes on the two dormant-ish volcanoes, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. 12th area I want to compare is cost and budget. We talked through this briefly, but I'll just hit it here. Oahu overall is the cheapest island to go to. Doesn't have to be, but it can be done on the smallest budget. The hotels and dining in Waikiki can be expensive, but if you stay outside of Waikiki, you can find affordable hostels and food trucks to eat at and local places to eat, because there's 1 million people that live on the island, and so there's a lot of local stuff, affordable food, and affordable activities. In Maui, it's the most expensive island. The hotels are really expensive. The activities are expensive. The dining's expensive. The boat tours are expensive. The helicopter rides are really expensive. You get the point. Kauai, hotel rooms are expensive. The food is less expensive. And the activities don't have to cost you a lot because there's a lot of hiking and waterfall driving and things to do. But certainly if you take a boat ride over to the Nepali coast, that's going to cost you too. And the Big Island, bigger range of hotels. If you stay over on the Hilo side, it's going to be a lot cheaper than if you stay over on the Kohala coast side. You'll have to factor in the rental car. It's going to add up the price. But, you spend the day in the national park and you spend $35 to get in, and that admission is good for a week. So you can have a really cheap time exploring the national park on the Big Island. Okay. Before I get into my final two areas, which are things to do, and then just to wrap up on which island is really the best, it's just a note on if you want to go at the cheapest times of year. When is it the cheapest to go to the Hawaiian Islands? April and May, September and October. Those are going to be your cheapest times to go to the Hawaiian Islands, when the least people go, so you'll find the room rates, flights, rental cars to generally be the cheapest. That's why we went in May, because the Fairmont Orchid was the cheapest. Our flights round trip from LAX to the Big Island were $298. I mean, like cheap. Okay, so let's talk about major things to do on these islands. On Oahu, major things to do. One, visit Pearl Harbor, visit and see the surf on the North Shore. This is the home of the Banzai Pipeline, one of the most famous surf breaks there. This is not in the winter, so it's flat. They still have the sign up, but if you're there in the winter, like epic surf. Shopping, there's the Ala Moana Shopping Center. It's the largest shopping center in Hawaii you'll find on Oahu. Chinatown's fun to explore. There's a Iolani Palace. There's a really neat snorkeling spot in Hanauma Bay, and the Polynesian Cultural Center. There's also the most theme parky thing in Hawaii. Not really, there's no rides or things like that, but there's a lot of great shows about like how they like get coconuts down from a tree and how they open a coconut. And then I think the best evening entertainment on Oahu, like luau style, is the nighttime show at the Polynesian Cultural Center. In Maui, I mentioned the park at the top of the volcano, the Haleakala State Park. Really popular for sunrise, really popular for sunset, really popular for hiking up there. The road to Hana is a beautiful scenic drive. Kauai, I said I would show you this picture of the Nepali coast. This is the undeveloped coastline. It's really beautiful. If you hike there, it's going to take you a long time. You can drive up to Waimea Canyon, which is kind of like a few miles from there in this picture. It's called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. It's a really beautiful canyon. Kayaking is popular, like inland kayaking. There's like rivers inside that you can kayak on. There's good snorkeling. There's the sea turtle viewing. And then finally, the Big Island. The highlight on the Big Island is definitely going to be the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Don't miss that. What does that look like when it's not erupting? This is what it looks like. I have some pictures at nighttime, but they're just two red dots. You can't really see all that. Like, it's when you're there, you can see more, but the camera just doesn't pick up all the lava all that much. And like a day or two after we were there, the lava actually was like orange red lava coming out of this. Okay, so, and then that's like the lava rock. The lava rock on the Big Island. It's just neat to go around and see all this lava rock. And another one, just like, it feels like a moon. It feels like a different place. There's the Curious Princess looking at this lava rock like, what? What is that? Okay. So in conclusion, what makes each island so special? Which island is the best for you? Oahu has urban excitement that meets surf culture. There's a rich history, global diversity. You're going to find the most amenities, entertainment options, restaurant varieties. Good if you want city life, history, famous surf, lots to do. Oahu is my favorite island to visit. I also like the airport because it's the easiest to get into with the best flights and the cheapest hotels. You know, I can often stay at the Marriott in Waikiki for $200 a night. And so like a third of the price to go to Oahu for us than most of the other islands. Maui is great for people who are looking for that luxury, who are on their honeymoon or their baby moon. People who want to do whale watching, people who want to do scenic drives, people who are really looking for a romantic escape should go to Maui. To Kauai, if you enjoy the nature, if you enjoy the jungle, if you want to get away from it all, go to Kauai. Just, you need to be asleep by 8 p.m. because there ain't nothing to do on that island once it gets dark. And then the Big Island, if you like volcanoes, if you like nature, if you want to see the amazing world that is here, go check out the Big Island. and seek out those volcanic wonders. It's also another great island to get away from the crowds because the place is absolutely so big. If you're considering doing multiple islands when you go to Hawaii, on like a 4-day trip, just do one island. If you've only got 4 days, you don't really have time to do island hopping. It takes a lot of time out of your thing. You can do day trips to these islands. I think Points Traveler said he did a day trip from Maui to the Big Island. There's going to be long, grueling days. They're going to be tiring. I'd recommend, at least 3 to 4 days per island. So if you're going to do 2 islands on your trip, then that should be like at least 7 days out in the Hawaiian Islands. We spent 7 days on this trip just on the Big Island, and we didn't even get to see all the main attractions on it. But fellow explorers, what did I miss? Am I wrong? What's your favorite place? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what questions that you have. And let's go ahead and go to some Q&A now.
Fellow explorers, it is now Q&A time. If you've got a question, I've got an answer.
All right, Alex says, one of the nice things about island hopping is the Hawaiian Airlines flights are so cheap. It's like $150 round trip. Don't include baggage fees, but yes, if you're doing it as a day trip, then Points Traveler says it's not for the faint of heart, but yes, it's not too expensive. Alex's echo. My volume was probably up too loud, so yes, there probably was an echo in that. Okay, my dad says, excellent overview of a Hawaiian vacation. I can't wait to see the videos coming soon. Well, maybe in a couple months, once we get around to editing them. Coming out this week on Thursday will be our vlog in the city of Tainan in Taiwan. So look for that one coming on Thursday. Mar, who's a big fan of Yellow Productions, says they're visiting Kauai this week on the 21st. Enjoy your visit to the Garden Island. Alex wants to visit Oahu, but Maui has his heart. Janelle would love to go there at the coldest time. If you go to the Big Island, go to the top, it snows at the top. So yeah, it's often hard to believe that Hawaii snows. Let's see. Point Traveler says, hit up the Dole Park on the way back to Waikiki from the North Shore. Yeah, the Dole Plantation is pretty neat. I like it. SoCal Seth says, if you're on Oahu and you visit Pearl Harbor, also pay a visit to the Punch Bowl Memorial. Heather says, watch out for Iron Man in the beginning of October in Kona. It gets spendy. Thank you for the tip, Heather. Funalicious asked if I've ever driven the other side of the road to Hana. It was a long time ago, but they told me that I couldn't drive that way with my rental. I have not made it that far, Funalicious. It would be fun to do so, though. Points Traveler once did a helicopter tour to Kauai with no doors. That sounds very adventuresome. Joe says where to swim under a waterfall on the north shore of Hawaii in Waimea Canyon. You can walk to the end of this thing, and there's like a swimming hole that has like a little waterfall in it. You can swim over there. Kauai is going to have a ton of those things, so that's probably your best bet for swim under waterfalls. Waterfalls. West Coast Toys and Gaming says Coco Head in Oahu is fun to hike if you like stairs. The hike there is made of this like old train track type staircase. I've not hiked it, but people I've talked to that hiked it said their legs were burning after they did that hike. Alex says ABC stores are the real MVP of shopping in all of Hawaii. Frankly, they are. I love the ABC stores. It's like the 7-Eleven of Hawaii, everything a tourist would need. Larry says, what's the best place for good poke in Hawaii? Foodland. Go to the Foodland supermarket, and they have a great poke counter. Make sure you get the fresh ahi or salmon poke. They'll have some that's frozen. They'll have some that's fresh. When we were on the Big Island, the frozen ahi poke was like $10 a pound. The fresh ahi poke was $30 a pound, but it was amazing. Like big pieces, just the right texture. So worth it. I guess you just can't get as much. You can't get as many pounds. It's expensive. But you asked me where the best poke is, not where the cheapest poke is. Point Traveler says, would you recommend Mama's Fish House, which is in Maui? We enjoyed it. I mean, it is a cool restaurant. Like, it's a cool vibe, so I would recommend it. It's not worth the high price. Like, the food is not worth the high price, but I feel like it's one of those where, like, when in Maui, like, you need to do it. We're not going to go back again, but we're glad we did it once. Rico recommends if you can find an ABC store with a deli, they have reasonably priced good food. Some ABC stores are also known as like Island Country Market or something like that. I might get the name wrong, but like the one of their locations on the Big Island has a deli and like a lot of prepared foods in it too. Seth is glad we have the ABC stores and Zippies in Vegas now. We sure do on the Ninth Island there. Tony says, would you say Kauai and Big Island are almost similar in conclusion? What do you think makes them slightly different? They are very different, Tony. Kauai is smaller and more lush and more rainy. The Big Island is huge. Like in Kauai, you can drive from one side to the other in an hour. Like the Big Island, if you're going from like Volcano to the Kohala coast, it's like over 3 hours of a drive. The lava rock is amazing and sharp. You don't find as much of the sharp lava rock in Kauai. It's been over time more weathered down. You can get to more things closer by car on the Big Island. And the Big Island also has more of these high elevation hikes. The Kauai doesn't really have a big thing that you can like drive up to. Like you can drive up to 13,000 feet elevation on the Big Island. Okay. Alex says the one in Whalers Village has fresh food. I assume that's the ABC store. Darkson says, did you mention anything about the Byodo Inn Temple? I did not in this live stream, but the Byodo Inn Temple on Oahu on the east side is pretty cool. It's a replica of a temple in Kyoto. I've got a video on it. If you want to check it out, just search Byodo Inn Temple. It's one of my favorite like hidden gem attractions on Oahu. Jonathan says, what about skiing in Hawaii? That's funny. Not really. It does snow, but not enough to ski. P. Nguyen asks, is Kahlua pork prepared the same on each island? I'm not sure. Tastes the same to me, but I'm sure there's people that would say there's regional differences between the island. Jonathan says Hilo on the Big Island rains almost all the time. It does. It gets over 100 inches of rain a year. Heather recommends trying out the 7-Elevens for some good local food and the ube butter mochi from Foodland. Thank you for the tip on the ube butter mochi. Jenny Fide says the Honolulu cookie Kamasni cookies. Guava is my favorite. And if you haven't yet, Janelle says, please do press the like button. About 160 of you on and 79 likes. I'd love to get that up to 100. If you've not hit the thumbs up button yet, watching it live or the archive, please do so, because it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, helps the channel grow, and warms my heart. Thank you very much. Jonathan says, if you're looking for Aloha shirts, check out Blue Ginger and Don Quixote. Thank you for the recommendation. Franco says, why don't you use a hat on the sunny destinations? It's really lousy for video. I got a big hat on, even when I do it right here. You can't see me. My eye look like a raccoon. So that's why I don't wear the hat in videos. I will tell you, when I am out, not doing video like in the water, I actually use the titanium dioxide sunscreen, like the one that like is thick. Like, I mean, like I don't burn when I put that on. So yes, I have the light Irish Scottish kind of complexion, so I burn super easily. So I got to put that thick nose coat sunscreen on. And Pierce Chan says you got to try the Leonard's Malasadas. You absolutely do. And Alex says, I was in heaven when Costco here in Portland had boxes of Honolulu Cookie Company cookies. I definitely probably might have spent $250 on cookies. That is an impressive amount of cookies, Alex.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
All right, fellow explorers, in every live stream, I always give away a Yellow Productions cruise shirt to a lucky viewer who can answer one of my questions. And my question to you today is going to be, dun 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 dun, what was the name of the beach on Kauai that I showed the picture of the Hanu turtles? The green sea turtles. There was only one in the slides. If you answer that question, you will win that Yellow Productions cruise shirt shipped to you anywhere in the world. If you didn't get to win one and you want to buy one, where'd it go? It disappeared. I had a button. It moved. I have a little thing to like click and say like, oh, at the Yellow Productions shop, but It disappeared. So anyway, you can hit the Yellow Production shop. Links in the description below. If you want to know when the next live stream is, you can find that in the description below too. Join the Yellow Productions update. It's my email list, and I will email you every time a new live stream is scheduled, so you will know the topic. And I also want to thank my fellow explorers that have joined channel memberships that support the Yellow Productions channel every month. It helps quite a ton, and you can see our newest explorer who joined just this month, Bridget C. right up there. All right, thank you very. Actually, is that the right graphic? I should have the right graphic, shouldn't I? No, there's a this graphic. Can we change this graphic? You're like, Chris, when am I gonna win? You're gonna win. Hold on, change this graphic. Okay, there we go. Newest, Lauren. Thank you very much. Lauren is the fellow explorer that just joined this month. This is, all right. So thank you for your support. That's why she's got that little icon joined this month right there. Okay.
And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
All right, let's go ahead and filter the chat and see the first person who said the beach. Congratulations to Phil. Oh, you can't see it anymore. Congratulations to Phil. The answer is Poipu Beach, and that is what it looked like right there with the green sea turtles. Phil, shoot me an email, chris@yellow-productions.com. You'll find the link into that in the description below. Let me know your address and your size, and I will get that shirt headed right out to you. All right, fellow explorers, look forward to the Tainan vlog this Thursday and another live stream coming back at you next week. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in the next video, but because we're talking about Hawaii, I will also say mahalo.